Men complain about losing half of their assets in a divorce, so you tell them get a prenup, and then they complain that prenups get thrown out of court, which actually reveals how very little they know about, well, marriage law and also prenups. A prenup is a legal document that is drawn up first with your attorney. Now you go to your attorney and you tell them pretty much how you want it to go. And there's a lot of different ways that you can have a prenup. It can be very fair to protect both of the people in the marriage, or it can be, to protect mostly you. Part of the prenup is disclosing assets and liabilities. That's for both parties, okay? Now, once that prenup is drawn up, the other person has to sign it, but it isn't one of those things where you just toss it to them at the kitchen table and they sign it and that's it. The other person has to go to their own attorney who reviews it and then advises them on whether or not it is fair and they should they sign it. Now, that person can still sign it even if it's unfair, if they just don't care about the prenup. But the other party is not signing it until it has been reviewed by another attorney that has nothing to do with the person that drew it up. So that's the first thing you need to understand about prenups. If two different parties are looking at it, two attorneys, it makes it a lot harder for it to be thrown out, particularly since the one drawing it up is going to make sure to protect their client by making sure there's some sort of consideration in it, okay? So you're not telling the person that you're marrying, you get zip, zero, zilch, nada. You got to give them something. It's the same thing as a will. A will can be contested if, let's say, you have 5 kids and one of them you completely take them out of the will. You can't completely take someone out. You have to have consideration. Even if it's, a couple $1,000s, you gave them something. So in a prenup, you got to give them something. Now, if you draw up a prenup where you give the other person absolutely nothing, that can be contested. They can go to court, the other person, in the event of divorce. But here's the thing that you got to keep in mind, that all men who complain about a prenup, it costs money to fight a prenup. The person who wants to fight the prenup has to hire their own attorneys and spend a lot of money in billable hours taking it to court and fighting it. And you don't think the person who drew up the prenup isn't going to fight back with all of the money they have? When men say that prenups can be thrown out, they're basing it on something they saw in a soap opera or something they heard about in this multi-million-dollar couple. Both parties need to have money to fight it. And it isn't always the case. And sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze.